All right, great to have you back, and it's time for us to talk, it's time for us to discuss, it's time for us to chat. It's a chat of some sorts. It's a chat about important issues, issues that affect us in society, and always with a view of how we can improve, make it better. And today we'll be looking at education. Now, the importance of education to human beings cannot be overemphasized. Globally, education is considered as a right that should be accorded to all human beings.
Over the years, Nigeria has expressed a commitment to education and the belief that overcoming illiteracy and ignorance will lead to accelerated national development.
Okay, so looking ahead even in this year 2015 in terms of educational development and trends in Nigeria requires that we look briefly at how the sector has fared in past and also what we can do to make it better. Yeah. Exactly. All right. So in line with this, we have on set today a young man who has decided to do something about the status of education in Nigeria, and we have him on set today. His name is Uduete Emmanuel Uduak. He is a proprietor. He is an educationist, and he happens to be the owner of Fortizo Schools. It's a pleasure having you today on set.
Permit me to say a young proprietor who's really doing a lot to revamp the educational system in your world, in your sphere of contact.
So how do you like my couch?
Well now, there you go again.
It's good to be here.
Okay, please don't take it back when you're leaving.
No, I won't let anybody do that.
I'm not saying if you allow me.
No, we won't.
Okay, I told you.
We won't. I personally won't. Okay, so we're looking at education, you know, and always when we talk about education, there's always a need for us to look back just a little, or perhaps assess, you know, where we are, how well we have fared. You are an educationist, you are into that field, you see what's going on, you decided to do something about it and, you know, start a school. Okay, maybe I should start by asking you how you decided to start
from the genesis, yeah?
You know, before we get into that. So what's the story?
All right.
I'm interested.
Well, it's actually a long story, and I didn't actually decide to set up a school initially. You know, as a member of Christ Embassy, a pastor, Reverend Chris, has always taught us to look out for a need and meet it. You know, and Rhapsody of Reality for Kids gave me the opportunity to reach out to children in my environment. So I took it as a job after my school and schooling at Ife in 2006. So there was nothing to do. So I picked up Rhapsody of Realities and started meeting with children, teach them Rhapsody, you know. They'll gather up, we'll have them like 100 children gather together. Wow. I'll get them sweets, get them biscuits. So it continued that way on and on. Then some of the parents started liking me and like, this guy, who is he? And I started talking to them about evening lessons. So they started coming. So we'll just charge them 20 naira.
Okay.
You know, they'll come. I'll teach them.
Sorry, 20 naira, like far back in when? Because 20 naira might actually have a value in the 90s. So I need
no,
to
like now, like that's just recently. That was about 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, just to not really the cash, just to get the parents committed.
Okay.
That, you know, sometimes when it's free, you know, they don't take it seriously. You know, they don't take it seriously. So when they come, they tend to learn more than what they learn in school.
Okay.
And they kept coming and coming, and you know, more. We needed more space. We needed bigger space. So we did that for about 2 years, 2 to 3 years. Then in 2011, that's when the school actually started. I just introduced them to the new development that, okay, we want to set up a school. So I went to pray, and that's how the name Fortizo came up. You know, pastors always told us about, you know, Fortizo means to light up, you know, to be enlightened. So I decided to light up my environment with education. You know, I also saw a need that many of these children went to public schools, and in these public schools, about 100 of them in a class, you know, nursery 2, basic 1, You know, when they come back, they're looking tattered. They don't learn anything. You know, so I thought about having this school with cheap, low amounts. They could pay as
very
they could pay very
affordable,
low and learn
so much.
and learn so much.
Okay, so it's like lesser value, lesser cost,
Lesser
for more
cost,
value.
more value.
Okay.
You know, we still do the same thing. Every private school does today. We have music teachers, we have phonics teachers.
Wow.
We have the Lagos State curriculum,
Okay.
the 13 subjects, the new revised curriculum. It was usually 6-3-3-4, but now it's
Yes.
now 9-3-4.
Okay.
You know, so we have all this, and the first year was was very trying, and
Okay, I
you
can
know,
imagine.
And I can imagine that you triumphed over
you
it.
know, we triumphed. I know that even in this year of triumph, we're still triumphing.
Okay.
You know, a lot of people didn't believe that it could work, and with the kind of environment, and at that time, we started the school in 2011, September 22nd to be precise. Then in the next month, which was October, flood erupted that environment.
Oh, okay.
So people were saying, the school is going to close down, the school is going to close down. But with the word that I have, we don't give up. You know, I kept carrying them inside the water to the venue, you know, and today we have we have graduated 2 sets of people.
Sets. Oh,
The first set are in GS2 now,
okay.
which is called
the
the
secondary level.
secondary level,
Okay.
which is called the basic 8 now. And the others that graduated last session are now in basic 7, which is GSS1.
Okay.
I know that. So we're doing so much in Alakpere Kitsu, and every school want to be like us. We are just 4 year, and
Yes, yeah.
I don't think schools that are 20 year have this kind of platform that
Amazing.
Fortizo schools is having now.
Amazing.
Okay.
You know, so it was a drive, and that we needed to reach out to people, children, parents who cannot afford the big schools. You know, give them the platform to also enjoy
Quality education.
quality education.
With a very low price.
Quality education.
Okay, I'm interested in the
Fantastic.
fact that it's good to know that you started right, you started so well as a proprietor. But I'd like to find out, since we're looking at Nigeria in focus and seeing, you know, several measures on how we can tackle the educational challenges currently in the country, would you say that government policies in the country, to a large extent, supports the proliferation of private schools? Would you say that the environment, you know, it's comfortable, it's conducive enough for private schools to, you know, spring up with ease compared to some other countries where you can't just wake up and own a school, you know?
Yeah, I'd like to say that private schools is actually helping the government.
Okay.
It's actually making the work easier, because let's assume that there are no private schools in, let's assume Lagos State, for instance, you know, with the population, you know, it would be a chaos, to be a chaotic experience. Even now, when we have private schools, we say have 100 in a class. I happen to teach in a secondary school
Okay.
before I started mine,
Okay.
and in this classroom where we have about 50, 60, and I realized that those sitting at the middle, from the mid, not even at the back, at the middle, they can't even hear
From
what
hear
I'm
what
saying.
you're saying, okay.
beyond, yeah.
So sometimes I would think about getting a megaphone into the classroom.
Classroom,
I know
yes.
that. So private schools is actually helping this situation. Okay, helping the matter, because modern private schools now, we have, you find 10 in a class, 15, at most 20 in a class. All right. I was reading one of the comments that the aspiring governors of Lagos State said. He said back then when he was in school, they were about 20 in a class, but now in classrooms, just like a town hall meeting, and
Exactly.
and all that. So it's terrible. So private schools has influenced the educational system of Nigeria in the sense that does make the work easier. In public schools, I don't know if I'm permitted to say this, but in public schools, they don't really have that time to go through this curriculum.
to follow it, you know.
Follow it to the letters, because we have for the basic, it has actually been separated into segments, like the lower basic, which is the basic 1 to 3, the middle basic, which is the 4 to 6, then the basic, which is GSS 1 to 3. All right. So a teacher in a public school without an head teacher having to tell him or her that you need to submit your lesson notes, lesson plan. I don't know if you understand.
Yeah, I
lesson
understand.
plan,
Lesson plan on Friday. This boy or this girl must know how to write before 6th week. You know, there has
to be a check, you know,
there's
monitoring.
Not much check.
Okay.
So that child, that's curriculum. You just find out that throughout a week, maybe per day, they're supposed to learn about 5 subjects. They're learning 2 or 3, so they're not.
There's no balance. Yeah.
There's no balance. So
okay. What would you say is responsible now in time past, you know, and from some of the statistics we've seen, some of the news items we've had, you know, it's like we've not really done so well educationally, especially when you look at our WAEC examinations, when you look at some of the examinations, which is...
And even entering into the tertiary institutions.
Which is in direct contrast to when Nigerians or even Africans step outside of the country, you know, they tend to do so
extremely well.
Yeah. What would you say, or what do you think is responsible for this seeming, you know, I would call it seeming because it's not actually so, for this seeming lack of, I don't know how to put it, you know, not doing as well as we should, or as well as we can, as I know that we can be. You know, does it have to do with, does it have to do with, like you said, maybe, you know, the teachers not really being fully qualified or taking what they're doing seriously? What would you say, being in that field, is the cause of that?
Actually, I'll base my point on the educationists, the teachers, the educators. All right. The students also have their own parts, which is, you know, social network today has made them forgot their books, you know. They're always online. But that's aside, but for the educationists now, that's where the work is. These young teenagers, these children, they are infants, you know. Like, permit me to define education.
Go ahead.
Education is from the Latin word educare. All right, it means to raise up, to lead out, you know, to train, to lead. All right, so these children comes to school without any idea of what
they're coming to do.
What they're coming to do. So it's my own responsibility as an educationist to lead this boy or this girl in the way that it should go with the curriculum educationally. Okay, so if as an educationist I am not well trained, I am not well qualified, I don't have the information that I should have as an education, as a teacher, that child will have a problem. So this is one of the basic, I don't see government as the problem of the educational system in Nigeria, even in Africa. It's basically on us, on the educationists. If every educationist and teachers and educators will follow the word that our pastor has given us this month to focus, if only they can focus this month, like our pastor told me, if only they can focus on the work that has been committed to their trust, these students, these pupils will become better people. We have students who can't read nor write, but when it comes to vocational skills, when it comes to sports, you see them, they're number one.
Thriving,
Okay, so we have these gifts, these earthen vessels in Nigeria. You know, we are blessed with this already, but the work is much on us, on educationists. If not, you find out that someone who studied Yoruba in school, someone who studied maybe agriculture, agriculture is still okay, maybe a course that doesn't have anything to do with teaching, you find out that